Now we're going to talk about circumference and area of circles. And as we recall, the circumference of a circle, we use circumference is equal to 2 pi times the radius, or that's the exact same thing as saying pi times the diameter. And the area of a circle is pi r squared. So these are the formulas that we're going to be using on this particular assignment. So find the circumference of each circle, use your calculator's value of pi, round your answer to the nearest tenth. So because we're looking for the circumference, we know our formulas are going to be either 2 pi r or pi times diameter. So here we're given the radius, and so we're going to use circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. And that's exactly where you should start. You want to make sure that you have that formula written down, so you're just substituting the information that's given in. Okay, so we know that the circumference is equal to 3 yards times pi. Let's reverse that. Sorry. I just want to make sure it's all going in the right side, in the right spots. 2 times pi times 3 yards. So now my circumference, we know is 2 times 3 is 6, so I have 6 pi yards. Now, if I was asked to give my exact answer, this is how I would leave it. But because I'm told to use my calculator's value of pi, I need to simply type in 3 times pi in the calculator. And again, you want to use your calculator's value of pi, not 3.14. Okay, so your calculator will take it out to some extended decimal places, whereas 3.14 will not give you the answer you're looking for, or really the answer I'm looking for. So the circumference is approximately 18.8 yards. Now you must include your units because units are given to you, and we're talking about a distance, so we need to include units. Okay, so if we look at this question here, circumference is equal to 2 times pi. Again, we're looking for the circumference of a circle whose radius is 2 2/10 feet. We would simply use that same formula of circumference is equal to 2 pi r, and then substitute 2 2/10 in for your radius, and you will get an answer. So hopefully you get the same answer that I get. But, you know, you got to put the information in to see. So if I do that, I have 2 times pi times 2 2/10 feet. So this is an exact answer would be 4 4/10 pi feet. And 4 4/10 times pi gives me approximately, the circumference is approximately 13.8 feet. Okay, so the area. The area is a little different, and we need to look at what the question is asking. The area of each, and the area of a circle is pi r squared. And again, we want to use our calculator's value of pi, and we want to round our answer to the nearest tenth. So if we look at this first question, question number 3 here, we're given a diameter. We're not given a radius. And so we need to recall that a diameter is equal to twice the radius. So if we have 18 is equal to 2r, and we divide both sides by 2, we get that our radius is 9. So now that we know what our radius is, we can substitute that information into our formula and solve for the area of this circle. So our area is equal to pi times 9 squared, and this is in inches. So we've got our area is equal to 9 squared is 81. So we have 81 pi inches squared. Now, if our answer was supposed to be the exact answer, that's where we would stop. But because we're simply told to use our calculator's value of pi, you need to use your calculator's value of pi. So the area is approximately 254 5/10 square inches. Now remember, area is the inside of the circle, inside of the circumference, and so that's always in square units. Question number 5. Again, we're given a diameter. So you have to start by finding out what your radius is. So we know the diameter is equal to twice the radius. So we have 14 is equal to 2 times r. And if we divide both sides by 2, you get the radius is equal to 7. Okay, so when we start with our formula, area is equal to pi r squared, and we substitute a 7 in for the radius, we have area is equal to pi times 7 centimeters squared. 7 squared is 49, so we have the area is equal to 49 pi centimeters squared. And now I would use my calculator and determine that the area is approximately 153.9 square centimeters. So I'd like you to do 4 and 6. Okay. This is just some extra practice. Find the circumference of each circle. And then down here a little bit more. So I'll do another circumference. If we do another circumference, we've got a circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. And if we substitute this information in, we have circumference is equal to 2 times pi times 6.3 inches. So that's going to be 6.3 times pi is times 2, sorry about that, is approximately 39.6 inches. Okay, and a problem down here, find the circumference of each circle, and we're given the area. Okay, and so we've got to take it a step farther. And if we're given the area, we can find what we need. Okay, so I'm going to get a new little piece of paper here, and we're given that the area is what? The area is 144 pi inches squared. So we know that the area is 144 pi inches squared. And what we know is the formula for area is pi r squared. So we can start with this. We can replace the area with pi r squared. So we have pi r squared equals 144 inches, or pi inches squared. And if we divide both sides by pi, we get that our pi's cancel, and we have that radius squared is equal to 144 inches squared. Right? And now the opposite, like the inverse function of squaring is taking the square root. So the next step would be to take the square root of each side. And the square root of r squared is r. And the square root of 144 inches squared is 12 inches. So we know that the radius of a circle of 12 inches would have an area of 144 pi inches squared. But the question is, what is the circumference? So now that we have what the radius is, we can substitute it into our circumference formula, which is circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. So we know that the circumference is 2 times pi times 12 inches. So that would be 24 pi inches. And if it's asking you to use your calculator's pi button, you would say 24 times pi, which is 75.4 inches. So that would be the circumference. Okay, let's try one more of those. Let's try 13. The area is 121 pi meters squared. So if we have that the area is 121 pi meters squared, again we're going to start with this formula here. Pi r squared equals 121 pi meters squared. And if we divide both sides by pi, our pi's cancel, and we're left with r squared equals 121 meters squared. And then again the inverse of r squared or taking the inverse, so that would be taking the square root. I'm sorry, the inverse function of squaring something is taking the square root. So we would take the square root of both sides, and we're left with r is equal to 11 meters. Then we're going to use our equation for circumference, which is circumference is equal to 2 times pi times radius, and substitute what we know. So we have circumference is 2 times pi times 11 meters. 2 times 11 is 22 times pi, and our units are meters, so we have circumference is 22 pi meters. And if we use our value of pi, we have that this is circumference is 69.1 meters. Okay, so I'd like you to finish that up. Thank you very much.